My name is Lita Charlotte Koch.
My name is Vicki Lynn Driscoll Oliver.
Lita and Vicki, two different people, have overlapping connections. For one, they're women raised in San Diego.
I was born in San Diego, California. The first 10 years I was raised in Yuma when my father's work transferred him to San Diego, and I lived in Chula Vista until I graduated from high school in 1959.
I was born in San Francisco and I was raised in San Diego at Mission Beach. It was amazing. It was really great growing up at the beach. We lived about 3 houses from the sand and the water, and I had a lot of friends, and life was carefree.
That appears to be where their similarities stop and their differences begin. Lita and Vicki had very different upbringings. Lita grew up in a small house filled with laughter and surrounded by siblings. Vicki was an only child raised by her hard-working single mother who eventually became her best friend.
Well, Mother was a stay-at-home homemaker. My dad was a plastering contractor. I would say we had a pretty ordinary family life. Everyone got along well. My mother was one of those type of people who had a heart as wide as anyone could have, and everyone was always welcomed into our home. Doesn't matter who they were or where they came from. There were 8 children altogether, and a couple that my mother had lost, but living 8. I had 3 brothers and 4 sisters. I was closest to my brother, Harry, because we were closer in age. I was born in 41, he was born in 42, so we basically were just a year apart all through school, and he and I were very close. As I grew older, of course, I grew closer with my sisters, but Harry was always the main one. We were just always together.
I was raised by a single mother and my grandparents who lived with us and my drunken uncle, and it was a great life. I have some siblings that I have never met, a half-sister and half-brother. They're both still alive and somewhat well. I don't know that I will ever meet them. Maureen, who is my half-sister, has 2 kids. I hope that one day I will be able to meet my nephew, Chris. I'm looking forward to that. The reason I haven't met them is because I didn't get to know my dad till I was, older. They're not the best kids. I always tell my dad, yay, I'm the best. Sometimes I think I am my mom in the way I'm raising my child, like she raised me on her own. I met my dad for the first time, really met him when I turned 50. I had only seen him a couple times before in my life for about 10 minutes. And it's interesting because when we met up, it was just like I'd been with him my whole life. I notice a lot of the traits that he has that I have gotten from him, even though we weren't around each other.
When it came to marriage and raising their children, they had different approaches. However, they both raised their families the same way they were raised.
Well, it's funny, my mom raised me as a single parent, and I had my son on his own, and just watching him mature and figure out life.
I got married in the early 1960s. I just turned 21. I was working for my husband. He has just come into the valley, and he was opening a new business. That was about the time that I had left Yuma to come back to San Diego. We had 4 children. We had a daughter, our firstborn, and our second daughter, Karen, was not born until 7 years after we had our first daughter. Our third daughter was a surprise because Karen was only 6 months old when I realized I was having another child. And then after Pam was born, I became pregnant again, and I lost that child when I was entering my 7th month. And I don't think he wanted to have another child any more children after that, but when he realized we had lost a son, we agreed to have another one, and our last one was a son. So we were blessed with 4 children.
Lita and Vicky find an interesting connection in their jobs. Both of them started out working as dental assistants, and those jobs influenced and impacted them greatly.
I started working when I was 15 for a dentist, and I worked for dentists probably 5 years, and then when I turned 20, I switched over to the medical field, and I've always worked in the medical field. I figured people would always be sick and I would always have a job, and knock on wood, I have always had a job.
My first job was as a dental assistant. I worked in a orthodontist dental office. Once I found that first job, I began to come out of my shell, and I knew that I could survive. I could make it on my own, because as the job progressed, I grew stronger in my faith in myself that I could accomplish things, that I could do things, that I wasn't as unintelligent as I thought I was, that I did have the knowledge and the ability to, even at my age, keep on learning and keep on growing.
Lita then began working for a toy store, which was a dream come true for her.
The toys. I loved working in the toy store. I loved receiving all the new toys and marking them and putting them out and selling them to the parents for their kids. I loved wrapping them. I could wrap any size, any shape of any toy that came through that store.
Vicky's delight arrived with the birth of her son.
It was the highlight of my life, I'm thinking. About, the year before he was born, my best friend was shot and killed. We were working at a hospital, and that sort of changed my outlook on life. You just never know what your last day is going to be, so I try to live each day to the fullest and appreciate what I have, not what I don't have.
Reflecting on earlier mistakes, they both treasure how they've turned them into opportunities to enrich their life.
Very naive when I was young. I didn't go out. I didn't do half the things or any of the things basically that most teenagers would do. Everything I did, it was fun, but it was good, clean fun. I think my mistake was in not thinking that I could accomplish anything in my life, that I would ever be able to find a job or work, because I just didn't give myself enough credit for what I knew I could do. I just kind of downplayed it, and that was a mistake because I should have pushed myself more.
Well, I was married for about a year. I don't think it was a mistake, but it could have been a mistake. I just didn't let it last too long. So, not to be impulsive, I had met him after I had broken up with somebody that I had dated for 7 years, and we got married, but he didn't feel like working, so I had to give him the boot.
They both pride themselves in the accomplishments of their children.
My greatest pride is in the accomplishments of what all my children have achieved. They are my greatest pride. They are what I'm the most proud of. They make me proud.
I guess helping my son work through to get his Eagle Scout. That was a lot of work. Felt like maybe I had an Eagle Scout myself. But I was proud of him, and I was proud of me for sticking with it and forcing him to do it.
And like many of us, they often too feel misunderstood.
I'm very sarcastic, and sometimes people might think that I'm that way all the time.
Maybe they just didn't think that I would stand up for myself. I think they thought I lacked spine. They thought I let everybody walk all over me, which maybe sometimes I did, but not all the time. I did stand up for myself, but nobody ever saw it when I did. So I think they kind of thought that I was just very weak, let people just take advantage of me.
Their views on success and what it means to them diverge.
Well, success to me means retiring without having to worry about money because I've saved enough. My home is paid for, and my first new car in 30 years will be paid for if I don't keep wrecking it.
Success to me means not so much monetarily, but in the joy of knowing that you have the ability to make others happy, that you can make your family be a family, love one another, cherish one another, and to give that same feeling of loving, caring, kindness to others. To me, that's the epitome of success. I try to live my life as best I can. I try to be kind to others, not judge others, and that's hard because in this day and world, people are all too busy. judging others, but if you can refrain from judging others, because not everyone has the same feelings that you do, but it doesn't matter. As long as your feelings are true and you want others to be as happy as you are. I'm happy, and I wish for everyone to be happy. And if I can make them or be a part of finding them that happiness, that means everything to me.
I didn't really enjoy high school that much. I was just kind of trying to get through it, and that's sort of where my sense of humor started, I think. I had an awesome car. I had a 59 Ford Fairlane convertible, which in 1969 probably wasn't too great of a car, but I wish I had it now. I wasn't super popular. I was a stoner, I'll admit it. Yeah, it was all right. Kids from my year of graduation, which was 1970, not a lot of us went to college, I don't think. And I started to go to Mesa College, even though I was already working a job, and I couldn't find parking, so I kind of said screw it and never looked back.
With years of experience behind them, it's telling to see that they both believe in living in the moment.
Well, as far as work goes, if you make a mistake, my motto has always been, did anybody die because of it? If not, keep going. Just keep looking forward. Don't take life too seriously. Don't get all stressed out over things, and be funny. I think a sense of humor will get you through almost anything.
When I had my children and then my grandchildren, hopefully I was able to let them know how much I love and care for them, and just having them in my lives. I made so many mistakes when I was younger, and I made many mistakes when my children were younger, which I wish I could reverse, but it's done. And now all I can hope for is to be there for them, and knowing that they're all happy. My one goal in life is to see that all of them, that I hope that I'm able to live long enough to see all my grandchildren reach the phase in their life where they're all grown, happy, and settled. And then I can go home in peace, knowing that they know that they were loved. And I know that they are loved and are happy. And this phase of my life, it may be coming near to an end, but I'm still here for them, and I will be. And I don't want this phase to end for a while. I want to be here for them for a while longer. Just a while longer.